2, 3. We're live. Good night, Belize and Belizeans at home and abroad. This is the Belizean Affairs show, number 85, for Wednesday, 3rd of January, 2023. We appreciate you tuning in to our program for tonight. This is the first program for this year, and we're hoping to bring to you some of the issues that are of concern in our country. Our chairman for tonight is Mr. Roody Wade, and I'm just his assistant, one of the panelists on the program. And so I'll just turn it over to him. Good night, Mr. Wade.
Good night, Leonard. It's always a pleasure to be in your company, and we should expect Gregory, our next host, in a little bit. At least he's supposed to join us anytime soon now. Like you rightfully says, Leonard, want to welcome our viewers and listeners both at home and abroad to our 85th edition of Belizean Affairs. We have come a long way, and I can pat myself on the back, and Leonard also and Gregory could pat themselves on the back for some of our accomplishments, and not personal accomplishment, but things that we have advocated for on our program, and we have seen it come to fruition, right? Come to pass, and some for some mysterious reason, the powers to be heard us, and
Amen.
probably tired of hearing us, and they acted. So I'm so glad for that, right? I'm so glad that the poor and less fortunate, and the ones that needed that assistant got it, or that law pass, or whatever we had advocated for, that they heard us and they acted. So I'm glad for that. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to attend to the needs and the welfare of our people. They should be serving people and nation, right? Not serving their own personal greed, right? And their own personal agendas, right? That shouldn't be happening. And as always, I'm going to, we have a very good program set up, but as always, we start our program with a prayer and a reading. And I turn that over to Leonard for tonight,
Yes, sir.
for
Thank
the
you very much,
prayer
Mr. Wade.
and the reading.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We have Ms. Sharon Pitts in the background. Let me bring her on, please.
Good.
Good night, Sharon.
Happy New Year,
Happy
dear
New
Miss
Year.
Sharon Pitts.
Mr. Leonard.
I was just about ready to do the
Glad to have you, Miss.
reading of the
Yes,
scripture as usual, and then
Turn
go
of
into
our
the
last
prayer.
year, prayers with this new year to everybody now at home and abroad.
But
Thank
you make it
you.
sound like last year was so long ago. Last year was what, 2 days ago, right?
Just the other day,
Two,
just
two,
the day
two or
before.
three, 2 or 3 days ago, it was still last.
Yes,
It
sir.
was
Yes,
still
sir.
last year.
They pull on no
For the
leg.
first. Thank
That's
you very much
Thank
for
you.
gracing us with your
Thank you.
presence,
So Leonard
Sharon.
will
Chairman
you
is
do
Mr.
you
Wade
want
for
to do
tonight.
you want to do a prayer for us, Miss Pitts, and then Leonard do the reading?
I'll do the
Dear
reading.
Father, Heavenly Father, as we come together tonight, as we meet across the miles and the countries, and you bring us together, dear God, may your grace continue to preserve us in your
Amen.
keeping. Especially thankful for the blessing of this new year, dear God, and
Amen.
for all whom we have to share it with, dear God,
Amen.
and food, the provisions, the health, the opportunity to be able to work, to speak, to share, and be a part of
Amen.
the family of nations. And even as we speak on behalf of our beloved Joel, Belize. Continue to guide us and protect us, dear God. In
Amen.
your name, through Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Miss Sharon Pitts. Thank you very much for that warm prayer. It's always mindful, that we give thanks and praise. Leonard, go ahead,
Yes,
my
sir.
brother, for the
Yes, sir.
reading. Thank you.
Thank, uh, tonight's reading, I'll take it from Proverbs chapter 14, verse 1, 2, and 3. It says, every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish pluck it down with her hands. He that walketh in his uprightness feareth the Lord, but he that is perverse in his ways despiseth him, the Lord. Verse 3, in the mouth of the foolish is a rod of pride, but the lips of the wise shall preserve him. That's the end of the reading. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 1, 2, and 3. Thank God for the
Thank you.
privilege.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Leonard. Thank you. And again, a warm welcome to you, Miss Pitts. It's
Yes,
always
thank
a
you.
pleasure to
Thank you
have
so much.
you. You know, we were awaiting Gregory. We're still awaiting Gregory. He must probably have a little technical difficulty, but we have to. That is expected, and it's
Yes.
always nice to be, in the company of you know patriotic Belizean who love people and nation, and
Amen.
conscious Belizeans, right? And I the program we have here for tonight, there's a lot going on, but I have my little message, and I would like to my people, as we come to an end of 2023, and we embark on a new year, 2024. I like to say to all my Belizeans, both at home and abroad, you know, start turning a little bit closer to God. If you are far from God, or far from the Bible, or far from the churches, or it's time to start turning back a little, wind back, um, because without Him, it's not possible, right? A lot of us take that for granted, and I think that the older you get, right, you need to start to think about, that there is a supreme being and there is a creator, and we should turn to Him, right? So I beg all those who are far gone, please come back a little bit, man, because we need God. We all do need God in our lives. And
Mr. Wade,
yes,
Mr. Chairman, can I add one little small comment to that part of your presentation
yes,
just now
sir.
before we move forward?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a small observation that I have noticed uh, during the time that I've been on the face of the earth. I've always heard that the Bible was written by men, even though when I started studying the Bible, I was taught that, yes, it's written by men, but they were inspired by God. And then I started learning about people who did not believe in the Bible and who were call themselves atheists. There's no God, they say, but the atheists, as soon as they get into some kind of trouble, the first thing they do is they throw their hand up and say, "Oh my God," or they grab their head and oh my. So if there's no God, why are they hollering and clamoring for, supplicating to a God to have mercy on them or take them out of their trouble? You know, I just wanted to throw that in on what
So
you
true on that, Leonard.
on what you were saying
During my
about people.
lifespan, I don't know about you, Miss Space. I've heard people say they don't believe in God. I heard a few of those comments before. I don't believe in a God bluntly like that, and like, so I don't know if you have.
Something that still is shocking. It never ceases to shock me when anybody come with that, no, and like you feel like it's you have to shield yourself even while you try pray and
Yes,
hope that
yes,
it's like that. It could be like a spiritual assault, no,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to always hope and pray that they see the light.
yes.
They
Just
must. I
pray
don't
for
know
them.
what Steve Jobs was like, but he gave his testimony about how he felt when he was on his deathbed and all the money and all that, couldn't buy him his health and so on, right? And
Real,
you can't worship anything but
real,
God, and that is what keep us. I think with all our human faults and frailties and limitations, right? The Methodists say sometimes the love of Christ constrains us, right? And I think
Amen.
sometimes even we are not great role models in our way of life, um, sometimes that's the thing that really keep you from not crossing a line when you deal with certain issues and people,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The love of Christ
Thank you.
constrains us and God. And like when believers not have any hope or look like you not have any hope and all is lost. Golson used to say, listen to everyday people, they want help. When the experts and the diplomats and politicians and leaders get the country into mess, and he said, pray to God. And I firmly believe that, right? That you have people who God is watching over Belize, right?
I
Amen.
was just gonna
Sometimes
say that.
without
Yeah,
that
Belize is
we would have been lost, right?
just
And
gonna
it
say
can't
that,
just
Miss
be a
Fitz. Thank
default
you.
mechanism, right? Or something you're calling when you're down and out. No, it happened to all of us sometime with a party, with a this, with a that. Like one time I had gone to a little, not little, but a church harvest service, and a man who hadn't seen me for a while, a banker, no, he was saying to me, he said, "You know what, you look good, you look young." I'm saying it, no, and
uh-huh.
I said like this, with a straight face, "Oh, it's stress. I'm stressed." And I used to like to use that quip when I saw people. And then I said, "You know what?" When I left, I said, "But gosh, man, why I never just say I'm blessed, and
Amen.
Bless.
take the
Amen.
compliment, but be
Amen. Amen
gracious
to
of
that.
my heart." So
Amen
sometimes
to
I
that.
do I like say that, oh, that stress, man, that stress grade me. I have to be that
Yes.
blessed agree
Yes.
with me. And we can't spit in the sky, right? We can't wait till when
Well, not that you're
things
really
go.
blaming stress, though, no? Because when then people
Mhm.
and say that to you, that because when they try, know, uh,
Yeah.
okay. Basically, when you tell them that stress, it's because you're trying to say, oh, the stress agree with you, or the stress do
Stress
good.
grade. You're right. Yes.
Instead of try put you down, you try show them
But
how the stress elevate
thank you.
you.
Thank
You
you.
know?
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
But I always say, Miss Fitz and Leonard, that we are still a godly nation, man.
Mhm.
With all the trials and tribulations, and all the changes and everything, all the negativity and some positive that we see around us, we are still blessed, right?
Amen.
Yes.
When you look at the outside world, we are still blessed. We're not a rich country, or but we are blessed, right?
Mhm.
So, but anyway, I'm going to continue here, and I would like to say that, like I say, as we come
Oh.
to the end of 2023,
Well,
and we embark.
Brother Brackett.
I'm on my live show right now. Can I call
You
you
on the
back in
live
about
show?
an
All
hour?
right. Yeah, we talking later
Yes,
tomorrow.
sir. Okay, thank you
Take
very
care.
much. Sorry about that.
Yes, like I say, we embark on a new journey, 2024, and for those who have lived and experienced, in our daily lives here in this country, because I like to stick to home, I I mostly, you know, are concerned about the outer world, but I more 90% concerned about what happened here in this country, right, and what happened to our people, right? And we have lived, you know, the disappearing culture. I've noticed that with culture, the Creole culture, they disappear, right? Like I say, I always like to go back a little bit, right? And I have lived the racism, right? Because we still have a little bit of racism in this country, right? Real, right? I've lived the injustice because we got a lot of injustice, this country where you know the justice system, not treat the poor and less fortunate good.
Uh,
If you know,
Mr.
right?
Chairman,
Yes.
before we get deeper into the program,
Mm-hmm.
since we brought up that point just now about prayerfulness and things like that, uh, would you allow me about 3 minutes of your time to just read something that I had written on that specific topic? The title of it was Belize, a Prayerful Country.
Okay.
May I?
Okay.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
sir.
Go ahead. Go
Let me
ahead.
grab, let me grab it so I could speed up. The following commentary was made by Leonard Brackett as part of a thread from a Facebook post by Mr. Roody Butler regarding prayers for Belize and Belizean leaders. No human being is vested with the right to sit on God's throne and judge the validity of any other human's prayerfulness, was my first statement out of the block in that regards. I went on to say, God knows my heart and desires and even my secret thoughts. Since more than 55 years, I have been praying for Belize and its people and its leaders, and not less than 5 times every day when I wake up in the morning, when I eat my first meal, when I eat my second meal at noon, when I eat my third meal at night, and before I go to sleep at night, and on other times in between. That's the way that I am a prayerful person, and I know literally hundreds and hundreds of other Belizeans that I have come across while traveling throughout Belize for political reasons as well as for salesman's reasons and many other reasons, doing surveys and whatever else not. I've met literally hundreds and hundreds of people who were very prayerful. And I can say this for a certainty. Had we not been as prayerful a nation as we have been, our country could have been in a lot worse situation than it is today because it is the prayerfulness of our people that has kept us in good stead. We are no exception to no other country, other than the fact that we know we don't have the wherewithal to fight any military fight. We don't have the economic wherewithal to fight any economic warfare against any other country. We don't have the tactical and technical and all the other rest of stuff that big countries have. But from what I have observed in my short space of time on the face of this earth, I know that we are a blessed country and we've been blessed because we're a prayerful country.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Leonard. And
God
like
bless.
I say, thank you, Leonard. Like I
What
say,
is interesting, uh, Mr. Wade, you mentioned spirituality. You started with that. Mr. Leonard, you read what you read just now. And you know, Belize always put itself as a God-fearing nation, and I truly believe that, right?
Preamble of our
But
Constitution.
you know, with respect to Good Friday, a lot of the people, say they carry Bible or they walk over the church doors. Quite a number of those people, even in one way, or they a resort or the place, according to our Easter tradition, right?
Mhm.
And just to take off part of Good Friday part. But sunrise till sunset, and then they will catch up with them drinking and, their revelry. Those people felt a way about Good Friday, if you touch
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
And I just want to say this before allow me, Mr. Wade,
Go ahead,
that
ma'am.
when you notice what happened, it's to me providential. You started out with spirituality tonight, but you're always with the show, and that's to be commended. And you said something about our culture disappearing. No, Mr. Wade, I disagree with you, right? It is
Yeah.
strength. And one part of our culture, I always say, you know, and sometimes I forget. A lot of time I have to say, man, I know the same grace to fool me meal. But you know that one of the things I always give credit to Belizeans abroad for the strength of our culture. When the children, the second generation children born in the US, they say their grace before meals.
Amen.
They say that. And one thing I want to say, no, is that you see, Mr. Brackett, the cogs fall into place, you know. You said something there. Believe defenseless like a child, always under attack, and we're safe with. What is under attack now with our constitution and our country? The
Mm-hmm.
strongest part of our mainstay and culture with providential help, a nation under God.
Mm-hmm.
And in attacking it at the constitutional level, our spirituality is under attack as a nation. We cannot understate it, right? I don't know if I am exaggerating, right? But I see that with
Nice.
2020 clarity, right? That is
Exactly.
under attack right now.
Exactly.
Amen.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
So
Okay.
so
Go ahead,
like
Mr. Yeah.
yes, like I say, we are still a nation of God, and
And Mr. Wade,
we're a
uh,
blessed
Mr. Wade,
nation.
I just want to apologize to you just now, sir, for asking you for a little comment that I wanted to make, and then change the segue of your program that you had
No,
a
I,
little bit.
I, I back, I, I
I'm
back, man,
recognizing
trying
that
to get back,
I'm
man.
recognizing that it had an effect, a different effect on what you had
Yes,
previously set
but
out as the program. No, and I just want to apologize for that.
but that,
Please
that
accept
that's
my
very
apologies,
that's
sir.
very good, because we are departing of who we are, right? And
Amen.
as a nation and as a people, right? When you look at the other countries that surround us, right? And we did a middle, and the other countries that surround us, and when we look at the things that happen in these other countries, man, like I say, we are 100% right when we say we are still a nation of God. We are still a blessed nation,
Amen.
still a godly nation compared to what goes on around us on a daily basis, right? So
Providence.
yes, but like I say, we have lived here in this country the injustice, for our people, and I have, in my lifetime, I have seen, like, we have two sets of laws, one for the rich and famous, and one for the poor and less fortunate, right? So it's not like, we got one set of law. For me, I think it's to me then I think it's two sets of laws that we have in this that governs this country, and we see it on a daily basis. We see the divide and conquer attitude of this two-party system, because you know what, this two-party system has us the way we are today, right? They turn family against family, neighbor against neighbor, right? Which is so sad, right? And it's like a never-ending story, right? And we are living it. We see the failing institutions where born Belizean and the poor and less fortunate, now we are labeled and publicly as the common man and the common people, right? Where foreigners and illegal immigrants, terrorists, are treated better than born Belizean, because as they come, they get handed with a house slot, and they get handed with a passport in their hand, right? And where born Belizean no get them privileges there, right? Some of our born Belizeans 20 years, 30 years, and they can't get a house slot, right? And we see it happening, right? Where the assets and the wealth of our country is not for the poor and less fortunate, where we see that only when there is an election coming, the poor and less fortunate is being recognized, but only for their votes, right? We see over and over again the elected and non-elected steals, enriches themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and the corrupted system never ending, and none of them are in jail. None, right? They wheel around and come back through the next door like nothing happened, where they account to no one, right? They are the supreme, they are kings and queens of this country. They do no wrong, right? We see the life and the lives of our people, right? Just, been wasting, right? A failing economy, joblessness. Although the Prime Minister says in his speech not too long ago, a few days ago, that, lots of job in this country, right? So, I would like to ask them, where they are, because I don't want to know, so I could send some people to get them job. You see the failing healthcare system, right? You see them boast about, all the good things that is in Carl Houston Memorial Hospital and what is coming and what is not coming, right? And you go to that institution and you'll see what I'm talking about, right? A failing education system. We see this PUP government wanting to reform our constitution, where I see nothing is wrong with our constitution. What they should be doing is strengthening it, right? We see the constant violation of our constitution by the government. They are the gross violators of our constitution. The things they do, right? Just because that they know that the poor and less fortunate can't sue them because they not got the money for carry in a court. So they continue to do what they want to do, right? We see the draconian laws they pass to violate the rights of our poor and less fortunate. We see the nepotism within this PUP government and past government. We see the failing lands department, how corrupted it is. You see a corrupted immigration system. You see a security forces that is on life support, right? Life support, right? One of the minister came and says that how much bullets the BDF no have, right? I don't want to get into that, but our security forces is on life support, and the constant disrespect by Guatemalan armed forces in our waters, namely on the Sarastun, and sadly the highest price of gas, the highest in the world. This little Belize have the highest price of gas in the world, and the basic food items on the shelves, right? The high price, right? And today now, 2024, again, I talked to Leonard the other day about Black Wednesday, if he had remember Black Wednesday.
I did
And I told him
remember.
like 2 weeks ago, this is repeating itself. Black Wednesday is repeating itself in the north, right? And as I speak today, January 2024, there are some police and BDF and nurses and teachers that are still waiting for their pension. Over 2 years, some a year and change, 2 years they're waiting for their pension, right? Money that's due them. When Mr. Ashcroft could come and he could get $76 million of our taxpayers' dollars in one day, right? And here we have our retirees can't get their money, right? Mr. Prime Minister, You need to do better, man. You know, these people rightfully deserve that money, and it's been too long. You need to do something about it. I spoke to 3 retired policemen today. They've been retired over a year and 6 months and have not gotten a penny. Right? They don't get their money yet.
Sad,
Sad, man.
sad,
You
very
know,
sad.
need to do better. Right? We see in the port war in our country where Portico now get a special treatment, a sweetheart deal. Right? Is that right for that to happen? And where that sweetheart deal went and how it went. And I would have seen the prime minister say, well, all the poor Belizean who can't pay them back taxes, and we struck it off. No, he never the worry. He not the worry about the poor and less fortunate. He the worry about Portico, big business, right? But anyway, we've seen all that played out, right? And yet, lastly, you hear the prime minister for his New Year's speech, says about all the good things that his People's United Party have done in this country for the poor people and the people in general, and what 2024 will bring, a better 2024. Well, I want to remind him of his speech, and I want to let him not forget what is going on in the north right now. Right? On that note, I want to pass it over to you, Leonard. You have something to, that was just my little
Yes, sir.
thing I wanted to talk about, right? But we could we could have a conversation, about
I'd like to
what's going
follow up.
on up north.
I'd like to follow up on your comment, sir. And let me put. I need to turn this off too, because I was trying to respond to some of the people that was commenting. Uh, yeah, the prime minister was away on a trip to go and meet the Pope, among other things. And apparently, according to what is being said, he cut his trip short in order to return back home to try and deal with this issue going on at home as regards to the Caneros, them having a problem with the factory, ASR, BSI, in not wanting to work with the Caneros, them, and give them a fair shake, or allow them to be able to gain a little bit more from the profits of their hard work. The factory wants to monopolize. Okay, the Caneros, they have to go and acquire their lands. They got to clean those lands. They got to plant those lands. They got to buy fertilizer and fertilize those cane. Clean the cane so you don't get overgrown. Cut down the cane. Transport the cane to the factory. All of that spending money for vehicle maintenance, vehicle gas, insurances, and all kind of other expenses. And these people do all of that up front and still have to wait when they deliver the cane to get their money. The company receives the cane, processes it, sends it abroad to be sold, collects the money, turns around and wants to keep a certain amount of the money to cover their expenses, to run the mill, to cover their expenses for their employees' salaries, including managers and other people who are highly overpaid. And then they want to have a big amount of the money left aside or put aside for their investors. Or in other words, the people that provides money for them to buy the cane factory in the first place. So every year they take out money out of them people, out of the cane farmers, the money, and they take more than what they need to take. And then the cane farmers have to share whatever is left among themselves. And because the company that's running the stuff is a private entity, it appears to me that our government are always, whether under UDP or PUP, are always amenable to allowing these companies to run roughshod over we people. And that's unfortunate because these people, like I said, not only do they have to find money as poor people to do all these different things up front before they could deliver the cane. So they go borrow money from the credit union or from banks, they put up their property as collateral, and they suffer in need of things, food, clothes, and many other issues that they have to deal with until they could get the money given to them. And currently, the Prime Minister apparently returned back to Belize to become involved with the negotiation. The minister in charge, the substantive minister in charge of the Agriculture Department, Mr. Abelardo Mai, and other ministers and other people from the Northern Caucasus, which is Orange Rock Corozal. They have 7 out of the 8 representatives for those 2 districts. They were negotiating, apparently on behalf of the Kenyeros, with the BSI people then, ASR, BSI. And still they couldn't get anywhere with them. Why? Because the company, as a private entity, feel like they have the whole country over a barrel. And that the ministers, the Kenyans couldn't get a proper negotiation out of them. For years now, they've been going through this process back and forward, back and forward. I think last year they're getting a 1-year contract, and then the 1 year is up now. So they needed to have another contract before they start deliver cane. They start deliver cane, but the company wants to break the union. And the way to break the union, according to the company, is to take the cane, stifle the present union them from delivering, and get cane delivered from other people to the mill. I don't know why is it that our government can't see the light of day that they were elected by these same people to look after these people's interests. And they messed up because they turn around and they write one bogus law that we told them was not correct and that was bogus and that they shouldn't implement because they have super majority. They feel like they was just going to go ahead and bullyrag the process, create an unconstitutional law, went to the court and got chased out of the court for unconstitutional behavior. So now ASR BSI is sitting pretty, having one court case rule in their favor that now they could actually not only play power play with the government, but could step on the Kenyans them and refuse to give them a proper contract. That's unfair. The government have other levers that they can pull to bring to bear some pressure on the company. And I would say they should just about get busy doing what they need to do correctly and govern on behalf of the people who elected them. So, Mr. Premier or Prime Minister, sorry, this is for you, sir. Stop the go hobnob and have meeting with these power players to the detriment of your country people and electors. You're elected to govern and to govern on behalf of Belize and Belizeans, first and foremost. If the companies are willing to be good citizens, because for them to operate in our country, they have to, first of all, be granted a license. And that license authorizes them to be as a corporate entity, it gives them the rights under free constitution to be or to exercise or have rights just like a human being or a person. When you take out a corporate registration, you're being granted the privilege by the government to become a corporate citizen. But that does not mean that you're authorized to become a cancerous citizen. Any citizen that violates the law of the country is subject to the laws of the country. So you cannot have these corporations hiding behind corporate citizenry and pretending that they can suborn and or power play the whole governance system and run roughshod over the country. The government have legal mechanisms that they can use to discipline these citizens when they become malignant. Just like how they have the same powers to discipline or regular persons, citizens, when they break the law or they contravene the rules of the society. So I would like to ask Mr. Prime Minister Briceño, you come back, you were supposed to go and have a meeting with Mr. Mai, as he indicated earlier today. I hope that meeting that you have with him doesn't allow you to go behind the scene and make no calls to BSI, ASR, and make no agreements that prejudices these people's rights and concerns. Your minister could tell you exactly what kind of issues he had with these people when he had the meeting with them today, how they behaved, and if they're not willing to act as good corporate citizens, then we, the people of Belize, have the right and the power and the authority. That's an essential service industry. We have it within our powers, just like how we could go and pay off special agreement with Ashcroft for hundreds of millions of dollars. We can find money to take over back DSI if we really need to. It's a private concern, but that private concern is operating within the laws and the structure of our society and should not be a malignant entity, should not be a malignant corporate citizen. They should act as law-abiding, decent corporate citizen. That's the basis on which they are given their license to operate in our country. Not to subvert our laws and to take advantage of our people, because in our constitution, it says that people must be paid their wages, they must be given what is rightfully theirs, and nobody have the right to dispossess anybody else of what is considered to be their assets or their property. The cane that the cane farmers they produce and bring to the cane factory is the cane farmers' property entrusted to the factory for processing under the agreements. And those agreements must not be biased, and or the government should take the military, police, and other assets of the government to use to oppress and suppress the people when they are in a dire state of need, to have the government advocate on their behalf.
Thank you.
Get about the business. Yes, right now, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Prime Minister, get about the business of making sure that these corporations respect free laws and respect free citizens. If they expect that the government is going to play ball with them and allow them to operate in our country, otherwise they could take them the machinery or whatever they buy. If they don't want to sell it back to us, take it, put it on a boat, upon a plane, upon a train, upon a cars or whatever, and be gone with it. They want it, we can dispossess them of it without paying them for it. But if they don't want to give it to us and they don't want to deal with us fairly, let them take it and get out and be gone. I think Mr. Abelardo had stipulated that at one point. But they went about it in an illegal and unconstitutional way. There are constitutional and legal ways by which they can go about the same process without having to be chased out of the court and embarrassed. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for the opportunity to expound on that and get that off my chest. I'm sorry that I went on so long.
Thank you, Leonard. Miss Spitz, you have something you want to contribute?
I
Thank
think
you.
what it comes back to, gentlemen and listeners, has to do with this wrongful experiment that they're dealing with. We got the bone of a strong rule of law constitution, Westminster style, we come out about 1,000 years, forged and finesse, best example in the world. And then they try to tell we to let go the bone for the shadow. Why I say that is, remember, we keep coming back to it, that the very Constitution requires policies of state to protect the Constitution.
Amen.
Now, Mr. Leonard, you said a mouthful that they have to, even the government has to adhere to constitutional ways to dealing with whatever they want to deal with. But I wonder sometimes if we have dealers in government instead of leaders, if these things are blunder because they are self-provoked or agent provocateurs. Before I miss the point though, the thing is that here we have a Westminster-style parliamentary democracy, our right to our waters, our seas, citizens' right, Belize land and territory, territorial sea, exclusive economic zone, internal waters, islands and keys, right to lay submarine cables, etc., etc., full jurisdiction, and then the specific jurisdictions under international law with respect to like the Law of the Sea Convention and the regimes and so on. What I'm saying basically is that
Sharon, we
yes,
even have the right to all the minerals under the sea.
And under the
land,
under
right?
the sea, right to lay submarine cables
And
with
everything
respect to
underneath it.
fisheries. There are certain things and how you can go after, exercise your jurisdiction and so on. Very important. Why I say this is that we have a strong constitution, and when we take the best that we get out of international regimes which protect Belize so that we're not any lesser off than any other country, we're good to go.
Right.
Now, I won't beg the question. I will make a declaration because the people of Belize gave government a mandate, and the mandate is not the majority in government. It's a majority and the minority in government. The majority and the opposition. Why I say this? Belize require, or constitution requires, policies of state. It's the policies of state that continue to fly in the face of the constitution, in the face of the good of the people. We did not exchange colonialism for corporate colonialism. We don't understand what they catch we. We don't understand what they catch we. When they go through this farce and this jankuna dance, right? As though they're trying to do good and give rights which didn't exist. We have these rights. They're trying to have, we don't know what to say just now, a mouthful. Mr. Wade, you say we don't have two different set of laws and so on. What they're trying to do is pull at the Constitution, unravel it, and barefaced use the mandate where the people give them as one stick to block the back of the Constitution, to block the dignity, goodwill, conscience, spirituality, and everything that is Belize.
They want a new identity as well as a new constitution.
When we have an identity, and you know, with the ICJ,
crazy.
That thing that we have as a Belizean identity is one of our strong points. You're not to go like Mr. Man behind bush, go ask who you bird, who you are, try find our identity. We have an identity, and whoever was the I don't know if the hyperbole or exaggeration or carelessness, but when functionaries, ministers of government, leaders in government, whether prime minister, deputy prime minister, leader of the opposition, minister of government, diplomatic, etc., etc., speak. You not take poetic license or barroom talk with Belize. We have a Belizean identity. Forge that,
Amen to that.
organize that, strengthen that, right? Into which is interwoven all the beauties, the syntheses. We know they go to antithesis. We know they go to hypothesis. Say, guess who we are? I am not saying this out of anything other than to make sure people don't want to say, you know what, we never see, we never know, we never conscious, we weren't reminded, we weren't warned, we weren't counseled, we weren't advised. What we have is in Belize, you see the attack and assault, the policemen, the nurses, the teachers, the medical workers, right? We come out of COVID where all these people were frontline workers, dedicated, sacrificed, put their health, their family on the front line. They have social security people that us know where they happen. You have hospital. Why is it? And correct me if I'm wrong, but one good citizen asked me this. Why would a leader of a nation of Belize be praising himself and his government, be expecting praises and thank you from the people, that a CAT scan machine has been furnished to the hospital, the Cartesian Memorial Hospital? Are we in the dark ages? I am saying
not yet.
Has
They
been.
promised it.
I am saying has been. Assume that between the promise that this one na me true, and I never lie a story. So it's on the way, it's on the slow boat, it's on the fast boat, it's on a plane, it will come by Dr. Seuss methods.
From June, Ms. Spitz, from June, the Minister of Health said that they had procured that CAT scan. Last month, the
you
Prime
know
Minister
what
went
they say in diplomatic language?
Wait. Last month,
Wait, Leonard,
wait, I yield back right now. Last month,
please,
the Prime Minister came to the House and requested a supplemental to go buy the machine. This month, not last month, the month before, in November, I think it was. And this month we just passed, because I think I'm still there in December, for whatever the reason. But in December, the man gone to the House at almost the ending of December and said that he want money to go buy the machine again. Like, how much time you going to the House to get money if you buy the same machine?
Same machine, yeah.
Thank you very much, Ms. Spitz.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Spitz. Procured
is a weasel word. What does procured mean? When somebody goes to the hospital and is in need of a CAT scan, and all in clinic in Belize throughout the length and breadth of the country, Carl, you should have one CAT scan. You should have multiple CAT scan machines. When somebody got there and need CAT scan, does procure help them? Does supplementary budget help them? Does a paper or a presentation in the House help them? When we forget it, it depends on the way we procure it, then they look on it, then they look on budget, you get quotation, it's being shipped, they have to ship it, the agent, etc., the counterpart, all those are weasel words. In short, say reason, brah, and then
hold on, Leonard.
Over and over and over. Meantime, people they dead. People are dead from young age and old age all over again the Belize.
One point, the minister in June of last year said on June 8th that all we need to happen is that they have to wait for the hospital renovation at the location where the CAT-scan was going to be put in place to
Of
finish.
course, sir. The infrastructure needs to be put in. You know what? We
Oh
need to have the
man,
designs from the technocrat. You know what? The measurement might have been in metric, but while we people have got metric, the weight and
it
so
dead.
on, that is in the other the instrumentation. And you know they need to be calibrated. And you know
Mhm.
we were on our coffee break. And you know what? We missed it. And the goodwill person
Excuses.
and the intervening people who promised one and
Interesting.
would have helped with the procurement and the ship. And you know, there was an interruption on the high seas because you know that
They said that too, Miss Spitz.
geopolitics
Sorry
and
not to
so
cut
on.
you across. They said about that problem on the high seas when
Oh,
some
you think
medication was
I'm
coming,
joke?
some equipment was
We see the
coming.
thought of them people jib
Oh man.
long time. We could say it in a legalese, we could say it in a speakees, but you know what? Pun and diatribe lost on those people, you know. Then they take bad thing, make joke, the
Like
health
people
of
will
the
suffer.
nation.
People will
Food
suffer.
security. Sugar, but I want to get back to something. Notice the Steve Edwards, the policeman wife, they say, or this retired man wife after the dignity of the lady, beard, laid bare bones on TV after the ball. Then think about the pension and so the entitlement. But what you have is Belize will always have it. I think that Gandhi may say, forever I'm a kind of racist, Gandhi, right? Certain place you'll always have enough for the needy. But what the resources and what you have in the world, to paraphrase him, will never be enough for a few greedy. And you
Mhm.
know what? You know,
Right on that.
when mosquito and you have some things where gorge, but you know when they gorge too much, that's a weakness, you know, like the Tower of Babel. Then thing bring them down. But to get back to it, the policemen, the security, somebody said the other day, how Belize reached this, right? And I will tell you, I used to hear it, read it, that in places like continental Africa and so, quite apart from the diaspora, when they go after the wealth, the mineral wealth, the natural resources, whether it's Nestle and the other corporate colonialists and parasites and bloodsuckers go after the cocoa, the natural resources, the minerals, whether um, you know, diamonds, blood diamonds, legal diamonds, what have you, oil, etc., right? The bio and the geo wealth. You know what happened? When the countries negotiate, the leaders negotiate away the patrimonial wealth and resources
Mhm.
of the people, right? Then the people have to come like beggars, right? What you have is that when the people find, to their shock and dismay, I don't know what it done, it happened at Belize, right? In those countries, right? And take, for example, the oil producing nations, right? And the minerals. When I say mineral, I said a more physical one as opposed to the viscous or the liquid, right?
Mhm.
The companies come in with their with their private securities. Then or they start with then they speak back and forth. Segue, right? They we call it hopscotch back and forth. Local security companies, right? And they contract them, right? And they hire them. I want to notice something in Belize, and I just said this because this is something that a citizen painted a picture to me. You notice what happened? Only remember one day call the British what they were. But when we building me paint white with green trim, that meant that it was an official building and only a police station on government property could have that. Am I correct?
True
Was
on
I
that.
in
Mhm.
the school
True on
when
that.
that was
Yeah.
happening? No, no, say
True on
yellow
that.
and green. Are you not seeing yellow and green on private property? But we get
Mhm.
back to the point, right? When a policeman hired, who they first loyalty to? Who they pay they? They might get them pay, but you see they have to cry for their pension. They have to grovel for their pension, right? Come out of retirement and go back, but try make leave because the economics is such. But what the person was saying, and no disrespect, because if somebody is earning an honest living, we're all for that. We're all for the honest hustle in addition to the standard day to day. But why is it that a three-stripe uniform officer should be sitting down by the street side, right inside the street side of a private corner shop? They protect somebody. Why is it Belize has enough that all men in uniform can carry not just the badge, but the uniform with dignity and pride, and that we can look after our own?
On that point, on that point about the police officer,
Thank you.
uh,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Chairman,
Ms. Fitz.
can I
Go ahead,
comment on that point?
Leonard. Yeah. Go ahead,
That point
Leonard.
with the police officer. The reason why that is happening, Ms. Spitz, is because the government cannot find money to do the things that the government is elected to do on behalf of its citizenry. Why it can't find the money? Because it's cramming around all over the place to squeeze all the government departments and reduce different government services in order to come up with the extra money to pay Mr. Ashcroft. That's what it's all about. Those are the facts, evidentiary facts. We have them now as the outcome, not something that is being planned and projected that may happen. Parts of it may happen, yes, but part
Or
of it
the
is already happening
policemen,
right
sorry, Mr.
now.
Brackett, the
Right
nurses,
now.
the policemen. Nurses are far behind even teachers, no?
Mhm.
But you see what? These unions and people have to band together, right? They have to band together, look after one another, and the speaker is spokey, and the leaders can't get just picked off one by
Mhm.
one,
Mhm.
organization by organization. But you know what? I think when you look at police and you look at teachers, educators, you look at stevedores, some of them people were people that say, oh, they know the work. Guess what? Then they work 3 a.m. You know, they
Mhm.
hear the Kong Han, the ring anymore, the Kong
Mhm.
shell or the
Mhm.
bull Han. But then people go work and for their shift, that triple, four-time shift, they are the hard working people. Them longshoremen, salt of the earth, Belizean. And I will say this, any one of those people should be asking, just ask the government simply. So now I just have to ask the question, ask, are we not Belizeans? Just ask that over and over and over. Ask it. And the other thing is, right?
Can I,
Yes, sir.
I just need to be able to contribute a little bit here. Um, the problem is that the government keeps finding money for whatever the government is interested in doing. They find the money, even if they have to go borrow it. They come to the house at almost every meeting since they've been elected to ask for additional money beyond the budget. Every year they set up a budget, and all through the year, meeting after meeting after meeting at the house, they keep asking for additional money or to ask for permission to borrow additional loans. So it's not like the money is not there to do what could be done and should be done. It's because the money is being appropriated and diverted into other objectives. That's the point
Yeah.
I'm trying to establish.
Thank you.
We're poor and we don't got a lot of riches or resources.
Thank you.
But one person is being afforded over $1 billion in his bank while the Belizean people keep having to sit down and suck their finger. That shouldn't have been happening to that sergeant or anybody else. The people them that are, like Mr. We had mentioned earlier, the police officers them who are retired and who are having a hard time getting the retirement money, or the people there who get injured and are having a hard time getting all the money out of Social Security and try to disqualify them, while they could have millions of dollars to invest in their private things. and that money should be available instead of putting in a private investment. Should be available to pay the people and the money for the injury or whatever happened to them. But then squeeze them out of their money and disqualify them, turn around and invest the money or lend the money to scoundrels who don't pay it back. And we talk about millions of dollars. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Go ahead, Miss Spitz.
And then I would want to say that what you have is that you say suck fingers, Mr. Brackett. You see this Christmas, we know we have Marga season in January. You have electioneering coming up, and people will be dancing on the tables, right? They'll be dancing and they will be taking the money, the pittances, right? But Belizeans will be sucking their sorrows, right? They'll be sucking their sorrows. There's a degree of poverty in Belize and a race to the bottom, no? Which has never been seen. You talk about if we have a Ministry of Food Security, call it what you want, but that, remember I had a war, no? But that boasting about securing export market, what you have is then you have contrived and direct scarcity, laws of supply and demand, economics of price go up, right? Sugar, that just about one example. Every time then people boast that they get to a market for something, whether that beef, whether that certain other things, the price go up.
The shortages.
Not outside of people's pocket, but things which are necessity, where poor people may eat. I don't even want to say they're in a luxury. Then, with respect to the wheelings and dealings of politicians and government, what you have is that when these corporate citizens who, if they behave poorly, they become citizens persona non grata, quote unquote, right? Constitutionally, you deal with them how you deal with them. But it raises the issue. Are these people not behind the door agent provocateurs? You know, when they create one situation, they make people cry righteous indignation. Then they go and they say, okay, we undo this, we settle this. Oh no, I get this out of that. And that's what we may hold back. Oh no, I get it. And almost like one bonus. In other words, they have people, they grovel and thankful and happy and clapping when it's always too little, too late for the people. But when they get, I don't know, they're like, I don't know how people can sit through they contrive things and so on, right? So that, you know, like it seemed like every deal, Belize people get shafted and Belize get shafted and everybody else get things a certain way. But the problem I have, this sophistry, this manner of the way they spin things to make it look like they do something special for the people of Belize. Truly that chance and chance and chance and chance. And they continue to shaft Belizeans. So the money resources they go, the natural resources they go, the people resources as by way of, you know, people who are contributing their dignity, their work ethic, their participation, their pride in Belizean, right? What you have is that there is an elitism and scant regard. These people barely disguise their hostility and derision for salt of the earth Belizeans, right? It's like they want to look down upon Belizeans, right? And they want to affect Belizean use and enjoyment of their rights of ways over the beaches, the land, the port, the facilities. And there are those of us who have to say, Belize for Belizeans, Belize for Belize. If you come here as a guest and you come in for we house and you know respect we house. Uno now open we pat for fast we in there. If we uno invite we in, uno sit down, beg pardon, accept we hospitality. Where we want share, we share. But understand that Belizeans have a way when we turn up the broom and put fork in it and salt in it to put it colloquially, right? But if you don't do right by the people of Belize, uno no want prosper the Belize. By the when Belizeans put mouth on people, you know, they not prosper, things not prosper. And Belizeans are saying and say better jam could dance and one where they dance, right? Don't box bread out of Belize people mouth, right? Uno a suck, uno sorrows, right? And you know what? I said it when they made a step on TV or whether that 300 barrels of oil a day or 3,000 barrels. I said like this, so UDP people made a mock the PUP with that. I had a glass of water and I put it on where I was speaking. I say, uno I know where the value because you could have 300 or 3,000 barrels. But if you need a glass of water to drink, to save your life, your gallons of oil and your whatever oil cannot save your life. If you have that thing, you're in the river, the man where you call stupid or foolish or where your chance could know his swimnology and it could save your life, right? Believe with our country you can't go far without you meet somebody connected by consanguinity, by blood or affinity, goodwill. Something somebody did for something, right? And I have said it before, some people not like it, but you cannot put bad mindedness in our cannot export it. You can't put it by your table and feed anybody with it, man. Make we get back to the milk of human kindness. It no get scarce, It flows freely and it have a multiply effect, right? We never give one the last shilling and wanna get $25 right after.
Sometimes
Mr. Brackett, that's your story.
I know
Mr.
that
Brackett,
happened
that's your story.
a few times to me before.
You don't have to tell me. I read on the phone in nature. You can hear people. They're not fake thing. They're not fake politician will go out there. They have to trick people. Any one of you can go out there and without giving somebody shilling or dollar or $100, right? You can give people something that Belize needs, right? Because on a solid patriotic citizens who have a heart for Belize. That's what leadership is about. That's what being custodian and trusteeship for a great country and nation of people called Belize is about. Part of the humanity. Isn't that what we share to the world? Humanity, an example of that.
2 more minutes there, Mr. Spitz. I give
No,
you two
I'm
more minutes,
finished.
then you finish.
Sometimes
Go ahead, Leonard. You got five minutes there.
Okay.
As we are at 1:12, so
Yes, sir. Thank
go
you very
ahead
much.
with your 5 minutes here.
Okay, thank you. I just want to add another comment in regards to what's going on in our country at
Well
60
said there
percent,
again, Mr. Spitz. I thank you. Not to cut you, Sarah, but I thank you for
60%
your
poverty.
comments here. Very well said.
60% poverty in our country of Belize. And the government cannot find or could not find the heart to negotiate one deal with Mr. Ashcroft so that the government did not have to give him all that kind of money up front while it run out of money and can't give the people one pantry or one help in time of emergency or can't pay the people their bills. You have to scamper around to try to get or find the extra money to meet the wage bill of the country. And the pressure people will charge them more for gas and other oils and other services. Like, for example, the passport we got from what it was, $20 $30.
It was like $60. Now it's like 200, no? Something like that.
Well, somebody will need it in a hurry, and if you go get medical attention or whatever, it cost them 500.
500, yeah.
No, Mr. Brackett.
Regular, I think
No,
it's
Mr.
200.
Brackett. No, Mr. Brackett. It costs them a life.
Possibly.
Because they gotta
Possibly.
wait.
If they don't have the money,
Yeah.
how they
Nobody
are
knows.
managed?
So right on that too, yeah.
So I'm saying that the government could have been smart enough, and I know they were smart enough, to negotiate that deal when they did with Mr. Ashcroft to settle all of these things. It's laudable that they tried to. The point, well, my point is,
I won't line up and clap, Mr. Brackett.
my
Mr.
point
Brackett,
is,
I
wait,
won't be in the
wait,
lineup clapping. I'm not in the cheering section.
yes, but
I
wait,
am not understand yet
Make I give my point.
until I understand. Me not the clap.
Yes, but make I give my point, Chris. I'm trying to say that the government wanting to solve whatever problem they had, owing Mr. Ashcroft money through the government and owing Mr. Ashcroft money through the POP party, for election money where the man lend them, not even money where you get in, because that's a different money. You get in money for help them in the financing because you expect favors from them. But he also lend them when they come to borrow money from them. And they had no way of paying back other than using for weak treasury to settle all accounts. Okay? The same way they decided to settle out all of the accounts then, the negotiation could be, okay, we are paying so much now, and we are paying and leave it at a time until we finish pay off this thing. Why? We can't just take away all the resources that we have, which is limited already, and give it to you. You have to bear one EPSN to do it until we could get
Can
to.
I ask you something, Mr. Brackett? And
Go
can I
ahead,
ask you
go ahead,
something,
go
Mr.
ahead.
Wayne?
Go ahead,
I don't want to get in on a financial business, right? But let's say each of you were okay enough that you had enough for on a lifestyle and for help 100 Belizeans every day for the rest of our life. If Belize may own their money under a corporate entity, would you have, as good citizen salt of the earth Belizeans, written that money off, or would you have been exacting the pound and the ton of flesh from the country and people of Belize? Mr. Brackett, would you?
I just described one easy way to do it. If I was that person, as you described, the most malignant way that I would have tried to extract that money is at least over a period of time that is affordable by the country or the people in.
Mr. Brackett, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you, Mr. Brackett. I ask you personally, the Mr. Leonard Brackett that I know would have written that off and said, Belize no owe me anything.
The Leonard Brackett that you know has done that.
I know.
Time and time again. I'm trying to describe.
You not put yourself in them people's shoes. Don't measure by the same stick. You know, I am saying salt of the earth, Belizean. Mr. Wade, the question for you now.
Sharon, you can't leave me hanging there without
my sorry.
Point. We talk about a government transaction with a business person named Mr. Ashcroft. That man has never been known to know why he pung a flesh or he pung or money. You make one loan as I was describing. Wait. The time to run out, man. The time to run out. Make I get my point out.
Apologies.
Yeah, no problem. The man give money. That's he's a corporate citizen. He has always been giving, you know. I mean, let's not exaggerate to the point of make people believe that the man has not done something for the country or given a little bit. But business are business with him. Anytime you come to him for a loan, he considers it to be business, not friendship. And he want his money back. That's the same reason why he won't know the senior family's smart telephone company. He lent them money. And at the end of the day, they couldn't pay him back at the time when he expected. When he done, wanted to get part of the company already. So he buy part of it, and when I couldn't come up with the rest of the money, he take back one additional amount of it so that he could own majority shares as he does now. As a business person, that's how he approach it. Now with me, if I was him having the amount of money when he won, exactly as you described earlier, Ms. Spitz, I would have written that out for my country because they stop me from getting my next plate of food.
Exactly.
I have billions of other dollars set aside in my bank and all the other. I have money to take out money out of this country, as Mr. If I were Mr. Ashcroft, I'd get money out of Belize because I'm handling almost any and every commercial issue going on in the country. I'd get money all over the place, so I can afford at that point to write that off. So your point is well taken, but I'm saying
Likewise,
government.
likewise to Ms. Spitz on,
Yes,
on,
yes,
on my
yes.
answer to that. Once it has something to, to make the country better and don't go under, and I'm well to do, and I, like Leonard said, I know that my next plate of food is that not affect it. I'll do the same thing.
I was
The
trying to
current.
say though. Oh, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I was trying to say though that the issue of the monies that we owe this man, some of it is legitimate. There are court cases that rule, and the man was not paid based on the court cases, which we have to honor at some point in time. My concern is that the country they're in such a dire straits for money to the point where the prime minister they take away 10% of the civil service their money, but they take it away if we help the country. They take it away if we go pay this man bill.
That's
That's my problem. How can you
my
punish the
problem
country
too.
so much?
Yeah, that's my
Just
problem too.
to feed this man financial empire.
Yeah.
He could wait one little longer, which is what I was trying to say earlier when I said he could. Then the government never had to pay all the amount of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that the man to
In
get out
one
of we in such
in
a
one
hurry.
day. In one day.
Such a hurry. When we in our problems and we need things for the country to survive. So make an agreement to the man, you are paying back, but you have a schedule of payment that you are paying and leave it at a time. Now they are paying and leave it at a time out of the 128 million where they say one get extra on top of the 45 million US and on top of the other 76 million where they don't get already one few weeks ago. Within a short space of time, they are paying all amount of money, $200 million. But one part, the man don't get 11 or 13 years. I don't remember the number.
13.
Yeah, 11 years at $13 million a year. Every year he may get out of the port. So he was already overpaid within the first 3 years of that agreement. He should have don't turn back we put to we instead we have to go pay now so much more hundreds of millions of dollars in addition to $25 million every year from now going forward. Instead of you get 13 million out of the treasury, you're gonna get 25 million, almost twice as much. What kind of stupid agreement is that when a crazy prime minister come to here and tell me that he did us a favor because he got back the thing cheaper than what the man valued it for? The thing never belonged to the man, so the man had no right to value it at whatever price and try to sell us back to as if we buy something from him. He needed to have his settlement for which he was authorized and allowed to take the stuff into receivership until his settlement was done. So the prime minister and the government, as I had told them quite a few times on this show, should have gone to the man, figure out where the man million is spot, figure out how much was left outstanding still, pay, settle with the man, get report, and let's make that money going off with treasury. But then what the man, like I said, suddenly I'll make one big bargain and try bamboozle with the public until we order and settle with the man for less than what the thing worth, for 30 cents on the dollar. Then chance we, and because most of the public doesn't know all these backbone things that I'm stating and explaining here tonight, people want to say, some of the PUP one and say, well, at least the man got back the port. UDP never got back the port. Blah, 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 blah. The man got back the port off of we treasury. To settle for anyone accounts along with we one.
One more minute there, Leonard. One more minute,
close,
Leonard.
Mr. Chairman. I close. That's my point of contention.
Thank you. My my thing is that you know, this guy that you talked about there, Leonard, he has been fleecing on this country for time immemorial, right? And like you says, the way everything happened, and like we were talking about our retirees, we're talking about our teachers, nurses, policemen,
Uh,
security
um,
forces. Yes,
I
Leonard.
think Gregory's been trying to get. Gregory was trying to get on. Go ahead, sir. I have something else I need to attend
Yes,
to right now.
like you says, he could have paid that man a little bit of that money, and make sure that these people get paid, right? My
That's
thing
all I'm
is that
complaining about.
there's a lot of wrong in our country that needs to be corrected. Um, what I would like to say to this prime minister, right, is to stop lying to the people, right?
Amen.
Because from the time this man took office, nothing but lies, 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 right? So, you know, people, they got sign all over and they're saying, people they punish out here, people they take lick out here, and yet this man, I did campaign for the poor and less fortunate, the poor people, where they actually take lick, right? And yet this man, they talk about all these millions, right, for Mr. Ashcroft, right? I mean that's so not right. And it's not like it's the millions from the PUP or millions from
Okay.
the UDP, because they are part of it too, right? They shouldn't be getting away, right? But it's the taxpayers' dollars, right? Why this man have to behave this kind of way, right? And the what you call it, rob Peter to pay Paul, right? And the Peter where the rob, right? The people who
We the
deserve
people.
their money, right? For them get by, for them, pay their bills and buy their groceries and send them picnic to school. And another thing I want to say, before I leave, right? They got to stop lying about this free education. UDP gone, they said they give free education. PUP before the free education. This one come back again instead of free education, right? Which damn well it's not free, right? These parents out there, they take lick to send their children to school, right? To get an education, decent education. But yet then they talk about free education, which is a damn lie, right? They need to stop that, man, right? And like I say, they need to start to tend to the matters at home, right? They need to start to tend to the poor people, right? They need to start to create jobs. Although the prime minister lie again and says that lot of job there, right? Which is, we know it's a lie, right? Create some employment, man, right? And he talk about crime. He reduced crime 19% since he take office. Lie again, right? Crime is at an all-time high, right? All kinds of crime, right? But yet, he patting himself on the shoulder that, oh, they're doing a very good job on crime, and which again it's lie, right? This guy need to stop it, man, right? And on that note, I want to acknowledge another here you put on you.
Yeah, I had turned off my mic because I didn't want to
Yes,
disturb the flow while I was
yes.
dealing with Greg.
I want to acknowledge.
Can I get your
Go
attention
ahead.
for a second?
We have
Greg was
2
telling me.
minutes.
Greg was trying to get our attention for us to read some of the comments that was on, because he was
Okay, go
making
ahead.
one
I
of the
can't see.
he made one of the comments them on there, and he wanted to help us out by
Okay. All right. Go
stipulating
ahead, Leonard. I
what we're
can't.
talking about
Go
as his
ahead.
contribution. Okay, so it says a Facebook user, but I think this is the one that he sent. It says, what Ashcroft gives to political parties is called campaign finance. Law needs to be passed to curb
Campaign financing
campaign
law. Yeah.
financing. This is how the end they end up with large concessions. Then there was another one here. I think it says, hold on. Oh man, no,
The
I'm sorry.
Belizeans are dealing with. I'm the
Oh,
CTSO. We
yeah,
took it
okay,
off. Yeah.
go ahead,
This
go ahead.
Belizean are some Facebook user says Belizeans are dealing with a corrupt government who is willing to give huge concession to foreign investors at the cost of Belizeans. GOB needs to revisit the tax code so all businesses can pay their fair share of taxes
Man,
instead of creating new tax law to take away again from the people. So right on that.
uh,
100% I clap on
that's it,
that.
Mr. Chairman.
Right? Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for that contribution there. And again, Ms. Pitts, I want to thank you, Mr. Sharon Pitts, attorney at law. I want to thank you, again for your visit with us again. And you're always welcome. And Leonard, it's always a pleasure to be
Just
here, right? With in your company, and we miss out on Greg tonight, but you know, sometimes I know probably we're having little technical difficulties, but for our viewers and listeners both at home and abroad, thank you for for your generous support, in terms of sending your texts
Mr.
and
Wade,
watching our
Mr.
program.
Wade,
Thank
you want
you.
to take an extra 2 minutes before we close off quickly, sir, and just speak
I want to
of the Twin City,
yes,
Twin Towns, I mean?
I want to also say one more time, to my viewers here in the Twin Tongue, don't forget March 6th coming up, our tongue municipal election. I'll be contesting the mayorship as an independent candidate here in the Twin Tongue. So please put your support on Rudy Wade for your mayor. I have a lot of experience, and I'm about people and nation. I'm not about you know one this party or red, blue, green. No, I'm about people, right? And on that note, I call on all independent thinkers in this country, right, to see what turmoil we are in right now, right? This two-party system, right? And it's election mode. And this present one is not doing right by the people and nation. And the past, you know what they have done. It's your time now. Put your name up as an independent candidate. The country need you. We need to get rid of this two-party system that has us where we are today, right?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It
Thank
was
you
a great
very much.
program. I enjoyed it, and
And
just
again,
want
Ms.
to say
Sharon, thank you very much for
thank
your
you, Sharon, for gracing us
appearance
again
with
with your
us tonight
presence,
again.
and thanks,
welcome.
Belizean at home and abroad,
Yes.
those who have tuned in and those who will be tuning in later on. God bless.
Can
Thank
I
you.
have
Amen.
5 seconds, please?
Go
Just
ahead, go
to
ahead, go ahead.
send condolences and prayers to the family of Mr. Kenrick Sigeri. And he was a Belizean economist, mathematician. I think he was of your, would have been your friend, colleague, Mr. Wade.
He says
And
yes.
one of the things I want to say is that
Wow.
he contributed, he was a co-founder with Dr. Egbert Greenidge of Friends of Pediatrics, and they dealt with Belizean children who were of, and they coined it phrase, difficult diagnoses and in need of
Mhm.
medical care. Started a program which had impact. Children were able to get care and treatment ongoing, intensive. They brought experts, they took children out, they hosted,
So
you
true
know.
on that.
And I think he might be known for a lot of other things, but he was a quiet person and didn't blow his own horn in that
Wow.
regard.
Wow. Wow.
I think a
Thank you
lot
very
of
much.
people
Yes.
don't know the immense contribution he made. So he is a humanitarian to Belize. And I want to say, quite apart from around independence, he was one of the, I think, the YPF, Youth Popular
But
Front,
you
around that really helped
you
to,
popular front.
in my view, secure our independence. And when technical college students were ranking, they were the brightest of the bright, Forge and Finesse, whether in medicine, economics, the arts, law, when you came from technical in those days, right? Leadership, it wasn't just academics, no? So I just wanted to say
Thank you.
that
Thank you very much.
Point taken. Thank you,
Let's
Sister
talk
Sharon,
this now,
for
and we
putting
have to
that
go
out
now.
there.